So I recently watched the movie Infinity Pool starring Mia Goth and Alexander, I cannot pronounce his last name, movie. And this movie is a horror movie, but you can call it a horror acid movie because while you watch the whole entire movie, you are wondering, what the hell did I just watch? Now, if you do not like neon, strobe lights, flashing lights, or any kind of lighting that will irritate your eyes or will cause you a seizure, do not watch this movie because there's just a lot of it in the middle of the scene and kind of in the beginning before we actually get into the actual but this movie is heavy on the rated R. When I mean it's heavy on the rated R, you see a lot of blood because they're not shy about it, and you see a lot of nudity. So you see some ass and titties and some dicks. So you see all of those components in this movie, especially that there's one scene where there's this huge orgy that is happening with the main character and Mia's goth character. And it was just a pretty intense scene that you will honestly will see because they're not afraid of this at all. Like, this is a very artsy movie where they just literally just push the limits all the way through. And what I mean about the neon lights and the strobes, you see some of those aspects when it comes to the orgy scenes where James is having this psychedelic trip. And while he's in the psychedelic trip, you can just see from how his mind is actually exciting to the point where the hallucinations and the psychedelic trip is actually started becoming a nightmare. And I do like about this movie how you get this simple man as James, who is this author who wrote this book that was 6 years ago, and he's trying to have inspirations on writing this book, who is very reserved and very much like a private man, to this man who is just hungry with power and just automatically just breaks down into this person that he's not this person anymore. And honestly, you gotta give props to his wife because his wife, James' character's wife, she was at the resort and she saw the danger and she did the most smartest things that you can see in any horror movie at all. When things are getting real and really messed up, you take off. Like, homegirl got her passport and homegirl just dipped. She just left her husband. She was just like, nah, 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 nah. You way into this mess that is going on in this resort, and I'm not here for it, so I'm out. Because the whole beginning of this movie is James, this Arthur, who's trying to find inspiration, went on vacation with his wife, and they go on ahead and meet this couple named Gabby, who's played by Mia Goth, where she plays the crazy psychopath girl. Because Mia Goth, I just do believe that she is a crazy person in real life because she plays those roles correctly from X to Pearl, and now this movie, nah, three strikes. Homegirl's crazy. So, anyways, so James meet up with Gabby and her husband, and they go outside of the resort, even though they're not allowed to because how dangerous the country is. And so, the safest spot in this country is the resort. So they go on ahead and take off after the resorts, and they're chilling in the mountains in the river or beach area, that wherever country that they're in. And then it goes to a point where the story starts getting weirder and weirder because while James is taking a piss, we see Gabby, Mia Goth, she goes on ahead and gives him a hand job. And we literally see the semen of James actually hitting on the floor. And that was just disgusting. So then James is like in shock of what is happening, but he's also a little bit drunk and tired. So he's driving back to the resort where he actually ran over and killed a man. And then so as of this point, they're just like, okay, let's take off because we can't call the cops or anything. So while they're back at the resort, James get a knock on the door. It's the police, and they're here to arrest him due to the murder that he caused. So while he's in custody, the guy it told him that, hey, So if you pay us, we'll make a clone out of you and we will kill the clone and you'll be scot-free. Because if you don't, then we will actually have to kill you because the punishment is murder. So we go ahead and we see James actually put the money there and it actually makes a clone. And this is where we kind of see him in this psychedelic world. And then he sees his clone actually being murdered by the family members at the guy that he rolled over. And so James and his wife are in shock of what they've seen and what they have witnessed because they never seen this actually happen. So while they're in shock, James goes on ahead and he meets up with Gabby, and Gabby tells him everything about the infinity pool, how most likely they go into this resort in this country, they get to do whatever they want, and all they have to do is just pay the police to go clone them, and their clones will get the most punishment, which is death, while they go on ahead scot-free and they can do whatever crime and mischief that they have. And there we see James actually joining with the group, and we see the group actually continuously causing these whole bunch of crimes to the point where they keep getting cloned and cloned and cloned because they have the money to afford it, which this movie is telling you that how rich people, how they can get away with all of these bad things because they actually have money. Because with this movie, the bad guys are actually rich people who are just committing these horrible crimes: home invasion, robbery, murder, kidnapping. They're doing all of these things and their clones are paying the price. And with James, he has a whole attitude and mind fuckery because James, how he went from this reserved person to slowly being like, this is interesting, to actually joining the group and having fun, to the point where his mind has actually break down. And you can tell that this group, they probably do that to other people as well because they are just so used to this. They like to go to this resort because they apparently know each other, and they also seems as if that they want to recruit James because they were saying like, oh, let's bring out the beast that you really are. And they made James go do these horrific stuff that James didn't want to do it. And they were successfully were able to break James down because how James was like reserved, interesting, into the mischief and the mayhem and all that stuff, to like, hell no, I want to get the hell up out of here. Towards the end of the movie, he's just like, what the hell just happened? Because that's just how the whole process of James' mind was. And honestly, this movie was not really a horror movie. It has creepy horror elements on it, and I wouldn't really say that it's a horror movie, but it's more like a suspense thriller drama and some kind of like sci-fi because with the cloning aspects. But this movie was an artsy movie. This movie was a very artsy movie, and it didn't shy away on the gore or anything else like that. So I guess you can say it's a horror movie in that aspect. But overall, this movie was a great movie. It's 2 hours long. I do feel like if it was like an hour and 50 minutes, it would be a very, very great movie. But I'll give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. So that's my rating for this movie. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about it, or what you guys' theories and thought process is about this movie, and what you guys rating about this movie is. Let me know down in the comment section. If you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is Mr. Monotone, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.